You knew it was coming. You blocked. You were safe. You had no reason to attack. And yet, you pressed anyway. Maybe you said it before. I shouldn't have pressed. I knew he'd do that. I always do this. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You don't keep pressing buttons because you're impatient. You press buttons because your brain thinks it's protecting you. And until you understand why, you'll keep throwing away rounds that were already yours to win. Welcome back to How Winners Think, the series where we explore the psychology, strategy, and decision making that separates average players from players who consistently improve. Today, we are talking about one of the most expensive habits in Tekken. Not bad execution, not missed combos, not matchup knowledge. A single decision to press a button at exactly the wrong time. Let's start with something that has nothing to do with Tekken. Imagine you're standing in a long line. Nobody's moving. What do? You check your phone, shift your weight, look around, anything. Because humans hate inactivity. Our brains are wired to do something. Action feels productive. Waiting feels like failure. That instinct in of itself is what kept our ancestors alive. But in Tekken, it gets us killed. Every second you spend blocking feels like you are losing. So your brain whispers, do something. Jab, hop kick, heat burst, power crush, anything. Not because it's the right decision, because doing something feels safer than doing nothing. The irony, right? Sometimes the safest move is absolutely nothing. They are reading you. Most players think they are unpredictable. They're not. Watch your own replays. Like, really watch them. Do you jab after every blocked string? Do you duck after 2 highs? Do you wake up with a spring kick? Do you heat burst the moment you are under pressure? Those aren't decisions anymore. They are habits, and habits are easy to exploit. Great players don't have to guess what you are doing or what you are going to do. They just wait, because they know eventually you'll return to your routine. That's why it feels like your opponent is reading your mind. They are not. They are reading your patterns. Every unnecessary button press writes another page in the book you are handling them. This might be the biggest mind shift in Tekken. Most players think in turns. Now it's my turn. Now it's his turn. It's simple, comforting, and wrong. Tekken isn't about taking turns. It's about managing risk. Sometimes you are plus, and attacking is correct. Sometimes though, you are plus, and attacking is exactly what your opponent wants. Think about frame traps. Think about side steps. Think about delayed timing. Great players know that just because they can press doesn't mean that they should. They ask a different question. What happens if I'm wrong? Average players ask, can I press? Winning players ask, is it worth pressing? Those are 2 completely different questions. Ever noticed how some players seem calm no matter what? They are not passive, they are patient. And patience creates pressure. When someone refuses to panic, you start feeling like you have to make something up or something happen. That's exactly what they want. They'll backdash, wait, sidewalk, block. Not because they are afraid, but because they are inviting you to attack. They are what we call the word fishing. And every impatient button you press is another bite on the hook. Great Tekken players don't always force mistakes. They create environments where mistakes become likely. That's real pressure, not endless offense, silence, stillness, confidence. Chaolan, for example, is one of the best examples for this philosophy. On paper, right, he has flashy combos, stylish execution, explosive damage. But watch strong Lee players closely, for example. The thing that stands out isn't the combos, it's what happens before them. The movement, the spacing, the patience, the willingness to wait 1 second longer. Every launcher starts with discipline, not aggression. That's true for almost every character in Tekken. The combo gets the applause, okay? Well done. The decision earned the combo. That's the part though most people never really notice. Every button you press has a cost. Every time you press, you're making an investment. Sometimes though, it pays off, but then sometimes you just lose the round. The problem isn't pressing buttons though. The problem is pressing them without asking the true question of why you're pressing them. Before every attack, ask yourself one question. What am I trying to achieve? Not, can this hit? But, is this the best decision? That tiny pause changes everything. Because the best players aren't faster thinkers. They are calmer thinkers. They have trained themselves to separate emotion from action. And once you learn to do that, you'll notice something incredible. You stop giving rounds away. Not because your execution improves, not because your combos got harder, but because you finally stopped fighting your opponent and started controlling yourself. If you remember one thing from this video, make it this. Every button has a cost. Before you press, know what you are paying for. The next time you lose a round, don't ask, why did he counter me? Ask, why did I feel like I had to press? That answer will teach you far more than any combo guide ever could. If you enjoyed this episode of How Winners Think, let me know in the comments. What's the hardest habit you've been trying to break in Tekken? In the next episode, we are diving into something every competitive player experiences. Why you panic under pressure. Because pressure doesn't change who you are. It just reveals who you've trained yourself to be. Until next time, think first.